What's up, everybody? It's Justin with the Garbage Rollers. I'm here with lead game designer Danny Schaefer.
How's it going?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's just so exciting to be here at the Galactic Championship.
Yeah, it's day one of the Galactic Championships. We're, I don't know, 3-4 hours into the main event.
Yeah.
Have you been able to make it down there and look at it,
I've been around the halls a lot, doing playing some games with people, doing designer duels, signing some cards, and walking around a little bit, just checking out the stage and checking out the tables. It's
awesome.
a lot of fun. It's just so cool to see 2,000 plus people here playing in the main event and a bunch more just hanging out, playing side events.
If there was ever a celebration of Star Wars Unlimited, here it is, right?
Yeah, this is fantastic.
Cool. Well, I'm sure most people know you by now, but can you kind of introduce yourself, talk about what you do for SWU, any of your past game design experience, any hobbies?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Danny Schaefer, as you said. I'm the design lead now for Star Wars Unlimited. That means I'm kind of taking the highest level view of game design. We've got a bunch of other designers and developers working hard on the various sets coming in the future, and I'm kind of watching over everything, making sure it all fits together well. My history is I've been at fantasyflightgames for just over a decade now.
Oh, wow.
Got my start working on Game of Thrones LCG primarily, and Keyforge was the other one I worked on a lot before diving into Unlimited about 5 years ago now. It's kind of hard to believe.
Time flies, right?
Yeah. And outside of work, obviously play a lot of games. I'm a big sports guy. Play a lot of volleyball, basketball.
Top Gun level?
What's that?
Top Gun kind of volleyball, or?
Sometimes, we play out in the sand on the beach. Yeah,
nice.
Great.
Cool. Well, we're about a year and a half into SWU now. There's 5 sets. Do you feel like the game's kind of where you wanted to be, what you envisioned it when you started out?
It's really, I feel like the game itself is really coming to its own the more content we've gotten to produce and the more different themes we've gotten to explore. And honestly, in terms of the player base and the fans, like being here at the Galactic Championships has really exceeded all my expectations.
Nice.
I think when I first had this idea, when I was working with as a gym on the very early designs, we could have dreamed of this, but we never could have really fully believed that we'd have this many people just in love with the game. It's awesome.
I mean, this has got to be FFG's biggest event ever, right?
As far as I know, I don't know.
Seems like it.
Yeah, certainly the biggest tournament I've ever been to with FFG.
It's come a long way from the old the Worlds events at the Game Center in Roseville. So
I think back to those sometimes.
We're in Las Vegas now.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's wild.
What would you say, high level, because it kind of has been your biggest design success so far with Star Wars Unlimited?
I think the biggest thing for me is I think we hit that original goal of a game that is easy to get into, that so many people I meet have never played a trading card game before. This is their first trading card game. You see people playing with their kids, playing with their partners who haven't been in it as into games. And it's just really cool that those people are able to get into the game. But at the same time, we've got clearly a bunch of high-level competitive players who also find a lot to really sink their teeth into.
That's awesome.
So I think, we hit that high-level goal.
Yin Yang, do you feel like there's been a biggest, not failure, but low point in the design process?
Nothing that I would say is a true failure, but we definitely the second, Shadows and Twilight especially, we were really stretched a little thin, and I don't think those sets quite hit as much as we wanted to for competitive play. I think they hit a lot of themes that people loved. I still talked to a lot of casual players who were like, "Oh, I love all the Clone Wars stuff in Twilight," but didn't quite land in the competitive scene and shake things up as much as we would have liked.
Makes sense. Yeah. Obviously, the whole design team loves limited play. I think you'll have a draft weekly.
We do have at least one draft weekly.
You all said the game's been designed kind of from the ground up with that in mind. Do you feel like that philosophy kind of detracts Premier play sometimes?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I think that they complement each other. I think it's sort of a reality of trading card games that there's only going to be so many cards that you can make truly viable in competitive constructed Premier play. And Limited just gives another avenue where we can have other cards that are more lean towards draft and sealed, and just give people more options, more variety of how to play the game. And I think, I don't think they have to pull at each other at all. I think they can work together.
Cool. Speaking of variety, we have 5 different ways to play the game now: sealed, draft, Premier, Twin Suns, and now trilogy.
Yeah.
Do you feel like just finding a balance between all those 5 formats and card design is it more difficult? Is it a puzzle trying to piece it together to work for all 5? How does that work out?
Yeah, it's a puzzle, but it's a fun puzzle to solve, I'd say, because it lets us have cards that don't all have to be geared in one direction. We don't have to say every single card has to be that top level premier card, because maybe it has a home in Twin Suns. Maybe it's something that works better in multiplayer, or maybe it's something that's just like a perfect card in draft or sealed. And so it's, in some ways it's kind of freeing to have that possibility of each card can find its own niche in a different area.
Do you kind of design cards specifically think like, oh, this is going to be the Twin Suns card? Or is it just kind of how it plays it out?
At times, yeah. We definitely will look at certain, and sometimes it's a little both. Sometimes it's, we go in from the start saying, this card is clearly going to be great in Twin Suns. We'll just design it for that. And if we can have it, also, we like cards that do multiple things. If it can also work well in draft or also work well in Premier,
right,
all the better. But at other times it does, it kind of just falls into it where we're playtesting and far into playtesting, we're like, what, maybe originally we thought this was going to be more of a competitive card, but the way the metagame internally is shaking out, actually this is more of a Twin Suns card. Maybe we can lean it more in that direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Kind of backpedaling to y'all love limited play. Do you ever see that making its way into competitive play?
Yeah, actually. So I think season 1 of Organized Play is going to put, not at the expense of Premier, but there's going to be more opportunities for limited in competitive play side by side with Premier. And I think it's going to be really cool. Again, we know there are players out there, that's their favorite way to play.
Yeah.
And giving them an avenue to be really competitive with it is going to be exciting.
Do you think there's a world where we come to the Galactic Champions next year and there's limited play happening?
Yeah, I think it could be a component of Galactic Championships for sure. Very cool.
With the continuing expansion of the design team, I mean, y'all are up to, I don't know, a couple dozen almost?
I can't keep track anymore, but yeah, it's at least 1 dozen, I think. Yeah.
How has your kind of lead design role changed over the last 5 years, I guess?
It's really, it's changed a lot. It's kind of wild to think about back to 5 years ago, as you say, where I was kind of doing a little bit of everything on the design side. I was so heavily involved. Every single card that was designed, it was like either I personally designed it or I had a heavy hand in it where someone else came up with the idea, but I was playtesting, balancing, changing that card very directly.
Gotcha.
And as the team has grown, as the game has grown really, my personal role has gotten much more to be the person with the high level view. I'm still playtesting every week, various amounts depending on what I have time for, but I'm not really personally designing as many cards. It's a lot more like, oh, that's a John design, that's an MJ design, and I'm playing with it, making sure that everything's fitting together across the grand scheme of things. But I'm not as heavily involved in, my day-to-day is not just designing cards and playing with cards all the time. It's a lot more overseeing things, communicating, thinking a little bit about the bigger picture strategy stuff.
So, I mean, your role's kind of shifted into a blend of that designer and developer aspect.
A blend of design and development, and also some mixes of some other roles probably on the product strategy side of things. So,
cool.
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything now, which is kind of fun. It's kind of a new challenge, a new puzzle to solve. Yeah.
So I guess with being the lead game design, or whatever you said the role was, I can't remember. How do you kind of monitor power creep as you go along? Obviously, you have different sets of guys designing each set.
It's something we try to be very vigilant about, and we have baselines established even from back in Spark of Rebellion of we want new cards to be powerful, new cards to do things that you haven't seen before. But when you look at them side by side with the existing cards from the first year of the game's life, it's not just like a clear, oh, this one's just better than this one. It's like, oh, this is asking you to do something different in your deck building, and if you do that, you get a bigger reward. Or this one, maybe this one has a higher floor but not as high of a ceiling.
Gotcha.
And just really be conscious of the comparisons between the sets.
Cool.
Yeah.
What does an average 40-hour week look like for you? Is it limited to 40 hours?
It is actually. I would say, very good about that at FFG in general. With the exception of weekends like Galactic Championships, where
a little bit
we're doing a lot of different stuff. We want to be out there with the fans as much as possible. But I would say that as my design lead role has evolved, there's really no such thing as an average week. Every week is very, very different. But I can give you, some examples that, some weeks it's much more, especially when a set's like, really getting into like an important stage of development, I'll be much more involved directly with the designers. I'll be having meetings with the designers on the current sets, making sure everything's where it needs to be. I'll be spending some time building decks and playing games. You have a couple days that we're all in the office together, always, play testing. So I'll try to make it to those. Other times, though, it's kind of the other side where I'm in a lot more high-level strategic meetings. I'm thinking about what's going to happen, 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road, playing that kind of stuff, and a little further away from actually playing with the cards. And of course, some weeks are like this, where I'm doing things with an event or going on a live stream, doing things like that. So it's a fun variety.
Yeah.
But yeah, no such thing as a typical week anymore.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Are y'all having to fly to Gen Con after this?
Most of us get Gen Con off. There are going to be a few Unlimited designers out there, though.
Very cool.
And I think I'm heading out just for a day or two, and then heading back. So I'm not going to be there for the whole weekend.
Yeah. Very cool. How do you plan to keep the complexity from getting too extreme as you continue to introduce new keywords, new concepts, mechanics, stuff like that?
That's a great question. It's something we think about all the time, is making sure that someone who starts, someone who comes into the game right now with Legends of the Force, or someone who comes in 3 years from now with whatever, the 15th set is, that they don't have a higher barrier to entry than someone who came in right with Spark, that they can just come in and it's still the same game. It's still, there's going to be different mechanics, but not just like a ballooning of complexity. So we have a variety of ways we do that. One is just being cognizant of how many mechanics we allow to exist in the set. That's one of the reasons that we keep it to a couple of new mechanics every set, and not just like bringing back all the old mechanics. We want to make sure that if you're learning the game for the first time in, say, Legends of the Force, it's not like, oh, there's twice as many keywords as there were in Spark, and I have to learn them all right now. You can sort of learn them as you go. You can start with one set and then add the others gradually. And we have a lot of internal metrics too, where we're keeping track of how many just vanilla units or units that are French vanilla just with a keyword there are, especially at common. We're keeping track of how many words are on a card, how many lines of text, making sure that's not changing radically between sets. And as much as possible, it's getting harder, but as much as possible, we try to keep putting the game in front of people who haven't played it before. Find new players, find people who haven't seen it, and make sure, hey, are we still meeting our goals? Is this still easy enough to learn?
Right.
It is a challenge now, because a lot more people have played Star Wars Unlimited, which is exciting. Yeah.
I think you kind of answered the next question, but one of the common things is like the design themes have kind of been limited to a set for the most part outside of that first set.
Yeah.
Is that kind of going into the, hey, we want some of these to rotate off, so we keep the number of keywords down, stuff like that?
Yeah, and it's a balance we want to strike, because we want to keep, as I said, the complexity down. We don't want there to be suddenly 20 keywords in the set, or here's the Force mechanic and pilots and unit tokens and all in one set together. So we try to keep each individual set's complexity down. But there is a balance there, because there are things we can do to support those old mechanics, which I think at times we've done better or worse at that, but it's something we're, I think, more cognizant of than ever, and we're going to keep trying to do that, where it's like, you think of a card like the Invisible Hand, where they came out after Twilight, but it's like, oh, this goes with a lot of the Twilight or Republic cards. It's something that can support droids without having to have a whole, all the set mechanics on it.
Yeah, Tyler loved playing the Invisible Hand with Triple Dark Raid and getting all the Vulture droids.
Yeah.
He was all about that.
That was so cool. When we suspended Triple Dark Raid, Joe O'Neill and Zion was heartbroken because it really nerfed his Wattam board deck.
Nice. What's your process when you design a new keyword or mechanic? How do you test whether it's thematically appropriate, maintains a good balance of complexity, and isn't too weak or powerful?
That's a great question, and it's obviously a bit different for every keyword. But in general, our designers will be brainstorming, pitching new ideas, and we have a sense. We've designed a lot of card games before of, this seems like it's probably going to work pretty well in Unlimited. This probably isn't. And we start with design testing. We start with just playing games and seeing, is this fun? Does this does this feel like Unlimited? Does this feel like a cool thing to do? And not worry about balance at all right at the start. We just get games going to see like, what's the play pattern like? Is it good? And then once we've settled on that, which usually involves some amount, sometimes we hit it right away and it's like, this mechanic's perfect. But more often than not, it's either we have to make some small revisions. We have to say, maybe this is supposed to work a little bit differently. Maybe we can clean up how this works, or at times cut a mechanic, come back with a different version of that mechanic that's kind of trying to hit the same themes. And once we kind of have a place where it feels right, where it feels fun, then we sort of do the transition to development, and we're like, okay, now how do we balance this? How do we make sure this is fair and competitive play? And it's a conversation though too, because obviously there are certain mechanics that the dev team can look at earlier on and say, this is a red flag that it'll be hard to balance this if we keep it this way. Let's maybe give us a knob to turn, maybe put a value on that keyword so we can dial it in or something. Yeah.
Very cool. Kind of in that same vein, how's the addition of game developers kind of helped the design process? Because that's a
Oh,
pretty new role.
it's been a huge boon to us for
Mhm.
sure. I mean, just having more people on the team in general has been great,
For sure.
both designers and developers. But having people dedicated specifically to development is great because they can just really focus on playtesting the future metagame, whether that's for Premiere or Draft and Sealed, and not have to at the same time be balancing like, oh, and I'm thinking of ideas for a set, another 6 months or a year down the road from the set we're balance testing right now. Yeah, so much of before we had developers, it was, some of us would try to focus on the Premiere balance testing for the set that was coming right up, while other people, again, had to be starting a set way in the future. And it was a lot more challenging. And I think some of the development and balance challenges we had in the early sets are probably due to that. But yeah, the developers are all great, and they're all just really strong competitive players with a big background in competitive trading card games, and they're just laser focused on balance for the future Premiere formats. So I think balance is just going to keep getting better and better as time goes on.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it was Tyler that said it whenever Django Fett kind of became a problem. You had originally had Boba 1 as the counter, but obviously the way the meta played out, Boba 1 got suspended.
Exactly.
And so it kind of worked out. So in that similar vein, is there any cards in set 6 already that you're kind of like, okay, we need to be worried about this? Or
I don't think I can speculate about any specific cards coming in with Secrets of Power yet, but there are certainly strategies that have been near the top of the internal testing, and that will, we expect to be strong, but not too strong. But we'll obviously have our eye on them.
Yeah. Cool. Has the design philosophy changed at all due to play patterns and tournament results as the game has gone on?
I would say the overarching, the main philosophy is still the same. We're still trying to aim for the same general things. There's probably some smaller specific points of how people have played that definitely influence us. We maybe certain types of cards that we thought were stronger before the game came out, and now we think are a little weaker, and we're willing to take more risks with them, or vice versa. But yeah, the biggest thing is we do watch how people are actually playing the game in practice and adjust to that, with the caveat that adjustment is always going to be really slow. I think about still, even at the time Spark of Rebellion first came out. We probably had a little time to make changes on Legends of the Force at that point, but nothing big or sweeping.
Wow,
The other 3 sets before that were all locked in, and Legends of the Force was most of the way through, so we could, change some balance on it, but not change the broad strokes of the set. We are always adjusting and course correcting where we need to for fans, but it's it's a big ship, and it doesn't always turn as
it doesn't turn fast.
Like, yeah.
What's your favorite type of card game player to design for? Do you you enjoy designing for the competitive player, the limited player, the guy that puts all the weird cards in his deck? I wasn't pointing at you, YouTube. I was pointing at Tyler, just to be clear.
All right. That's a great question, because I think the cards I'm drawn to the most are the competitive cards. I like to, I play to win, I play to compete. I like competitive cards. But when I'm designing, I find it almost more fun to design for the kind of weird combo player, the player who's trying to do something unusual that no one's ever seen, because those cards are just like, they're just exciting, the possibilities with them.
It just takes me back to that stream. You were playing against Tyler, and he brought like Sabine ECL, and you had a Nalase deck, and you just blew his mind. It was great.
I did love that Nalase deck. That was a lot of fun.
Do you feel like the competitive meta has finally landed in kind of where you intended it to be? We're kind of in a place where we're getting more units sticking to the board and doing that back and forth action y'all described early on.
I would say in that way, certainly. We really always envision the game as being, not like units are around forever, but you have units sticking in play. That the back and forth actions really shine, as you say, where there's multiple choices in combat. The choices of when to play your events, when to attack with the unit, and it's really that's the heart of Unlimited, and that's where it really, really shines. So in general, especially with Legends of the Force, I think we're getting to a point where the gameplay is looking a lot like how we want it to look. I think there are still, maybe specific decks or archetypes that are a little bit of outliers that we can dial in, but the broad strokes of the gameplay we're feeling really good about.
Cool.
Yeah.
How do you expect the game to change after rotation?
I think it's going to be a massive change, obviously. Especially Spark of Rebellion has cast a long shadow over the game.
I mean, it feels like we still play decks with half the cards from SOR. So
yeah. So those cards going away will be a big thing, and then also the new cards coming in, both with Secrets of Power coming out, and then Lawless Time is going to do some really, I can't tell you anything about what's in it, but it's going to have some really cool stuff.
It's going to really
change how you build your decks.
Very cool.
So I think it's going to be a different looking format, and one that will, I think, make people reevaluate a lot of the cards from Jump to Lightspeed for sure, probably from Legends of the Forest and Secrets of Power as well, because they're just, in a different context without Spark and with new cards to work with, they're different. Yeah,
I feel like that's always an interesting design point, is when you get to that point where, I need to go back to my old boxes and look through these cards again and see, like, these can have impact now with what these new cards have brought.
Yeah,
and rotation brings a good part of that.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll ever get another set like SOR that just felt like it was, kind of power level a little bit higher than everything else?
That's an interesting question, because in some ways, the way we talk about it internally is more so we want more of our sets to be closer to Spark of Rebellion. Not on the same level as Spark of Rebellion as far as, being so far above the other two sets. But if, every set could be, 80% of the way to Spark or whatever.
Sure.
And then all the sets are like that, so there's more balance between them as far as what cards you see in play. I think that's kind of the way we think about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel like the design team has handled balance and bans thus far, or suspended list?
Oh yeah, we've been happy with the handling of it. Obviously, never feels great to have to suspend a card.
Yeah.
But I think each time we stepped in and did it, it was pretty necessary to make the metagame feel more fair. And both after we suspended Boba Fett and then after the second round of suspensions around Django and Triple Dark Raid and DJ, I think the metagame and the decks we saw right afterwards were much more diverse, and that's really all we can ask for is for the metagame to look better after we step in and take action.
Yeah. So, I mean, just looking at it from a high level, it feels like y'all have taken a very reactive approach to balance, and kind of in the sense of we want to get the data before we make any kind of changes.
Yeah.
We're not going to go on what we think is going to happen. We're going to wait and see what actually does happen. Do you feel like that's kind of like, we like that approach, we're going to stick with it?
I would say generally yes. We don't want to just say, we think we internally think this is going to be good, and just assume that we're right and take action before players even had a chance to play the cards, or really play the cards in a big competitive setting at least. We do want to act quickly though. We don't want people to have to sit around in an imbalanced or a stale format for very long. That's kind of what we did with especially the Django Triple Dark Raid DJ, where we let a couple of big competitive events play out to make sure like there isn't a counter out there that we're not seeing or something that we're missing. But then as soon as it became pretty clear after a couple of big events, we said, okay, now let's step in. Let's make sure that the PQ season and the later events are not affected by this. So that's generally, I think, about what we're going to do. Yeah.
Do you think there's like a threshold of we got to hit this before it happens kind of thing, or it's always going to be that approach?
It's hard. I mean, you can imagine a hypothetical situation where there's just, a really egregious combo that we didn't catch, where maybe we would, then step in sooner. But in general, if it's something where it's just like, this seems like the strongest possible mid-range deck, but maybe there's a counter to it, we'll at least give it a little time to play out and see what the players can do.
So kind of going off of that, how would you respond to the players that are kind of disappointed that, they're traveling to an event early in the meta and there might be a problem that, they perceive, but you're going to wait to react to it until later?
Sure. I get that. I get that feeling for sure. I think particularly like with, Galactics, we're coming, 3-ish weeks after Legends of the Force actually came out. I think that's a good spot where there's been time to test, there's been time to see what's out there, but there haven't been any big events yet. And I have a feeling that at least some of the competitive players are going to come with some surprises that they've been holding for Galactics. I think that's cool. I think it's cool to go in thinking maybe there's a specific deck that is really good, or a specific card that's really good, but it has a target on its back, and people can come and try and play for that. And honestly, like, at least from the breakdown we've seen so far from day one, it's a pretty good variety of leaders, at least. I know there are certain cards, certain archetypes that are up there, and obviously Shadow's Han Solo is
20% of the field,
the biggest, but the rest of the field is, I don't think there's anything else above 10%.
Yeah, Vader was the next highest at 7.
Yeah,
so.
Vader, Mother Talzin was way up there. Kylo was pretty high.
Yeah,
and there's 2 different versions of Han as well, because the green version was up there too.
Yeah.
So it's cool. I think it's a lot of possibilities as far as what could end up taking down the tournament.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What kind of led to the decision to not carry over the current suspended list of the trilogy format?
That's actually, unfortunately, something I don't have a ton of insight
Gotcha.
into. There were kind of other people on the team really driving the trilogy format, and I was sort of, again, pretty far zoomed out on that, so I can't really talk to the specifics of those.
Yeah,
I think we can expect, if it plays out, that certain strategies or cards are dominant there, we could see some balance updates, just as we had to do with Premiere.
All right.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about the trilogy format?
I think my favorite thing is just the fact that you can't. The playset is across all 3 decks, so you kind of have to make some unique deck building decisions as far as what do I prioritize. To use a relevant current example, you can't just play 3 force throw decks.
Yeah.
You have to say, okay, do I want to play just a totally different color combination? Do I play a good deck, but it's maybe missing 1 or 2 key cards because it's from this other deck? Do I split the cards between those decks? I think that's a lot of fun, and I also think the ban system, where you ban one of the decks beforehand, creates some really fun moments and storylines where it's I know when we were testing it internally, there were certain decks that we knew some of the devs were really comfortable with, and we say, oh, we can't let you play that, and then or you say, actually, I am going to let you play that. I think I can beat that deck. I'm going to ban this other deck, and it's kind of fun. It creates a little narrative to the whole
little game within the game.
Yeah.
Very nice. We're going to see limited in Premier or competitive play soon.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll ever see trilogy?
That's a great question. I think always probably Premier is going to be more of the format from competitive play, just because it's a lower barrier to entry.
Yeah, more accessible.
Buy three different decks.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a lot more accessible. But I can see trilogy finding a home in various levels somewhere.
Very cool.
Not totally sure though.
Okay.
We'll see.
Now we have, like we said earlier, 5 or 6 different ways you can play the game. What's your personal favorite?
I am just such a fan of just playing straight up Premier.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that's my favorite way for sure.
Nice.
I don't know, the deck building's really fun, and I'm a competitive guy, and I love the head-to-head games with a deck that I built and I got to spend time tuning. It's just it's what I love about trading card games.
Yeah, I feel like most people there, I love the deck building or I really love the playing. There's not a huge balance in between there, and you feel like you're the 50-50. I love both.
I just love both.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
There's something too about you built your own deck, and so you know how to play it, and your opponent doesn't necessarily know all the lines, and you can feel like you have a play edge from your deck building. It's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
What's your favorite card in the game so far?
That's such a hard question. Right now today, this is not, don't hold me to this, but Legends of the Force Ray is in both the decks I brought to play in Designer Duels.
The unit?
The unit that
makes you draw a card.
Yeah, when you draw, you deal damage.
Okay.
Just the puzzle of, okay, how am I gonna find her? How am I gonna maximize the ability of this? I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some straightforward answers like Owen Lars, but there's also some more nuanced things, and I think it's cool. I think it's a lot of fun.
Very nice.
Yeah.
What would you say is your favorite art piece in the game so far?
Oh wow, I'm so bad at thinking of this off the top of my head, but you know what it is there's a Mace Windu that's a promo for the Galactics where he's got the lightsabers. Yeah. It looks so nice.
Are you gonna get the shirt out there?
I probably will. Yeah, I've held off so far. I'm how much? Am I going to buy a Star Wars shirt again? Another one. But
you can't just ask for it for free.
I don't think so.
Come on, Serena.
I don't know who has that power.
I want to give it.
Yeah.
You got any cool teaser stories for year 3 of SWU?
I think I have been sworn to secrecy on saying anything besides what is going to be revealed on Sunday, which is the names of the next 3 sets.
Ooh.
But they're cool names.
Yeah.
Lawless Time, Ashes of the Empire, and Homeworlds.
Ooh, okay.
And Yeah, they're all awesome in very different ways.
Yeah.
But they're all really cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Can we ever expect to see more Teach the Game products, kind of like this Intro to Hoth thing we're getting soon?
Oh yeah, for sure. I was pretty heavily involved in Intro Battle Hoth, and I'm so excited about another avenue to get new players into the game, to get people into the game who haven't played trading card games, or maybe not even played like the heavier board games or card games before. And in my mind, that's just the first step. We want to have a very robust new player system where there are different ways to get into the game. Where it's just we got a whole program around how to get people into playing Star Wars Unlimited.
And the Spotlight decks are going to continue still, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Do you think we'll ever see any Twin Sun pre-con decks?
I think that's something that a lot of people want.
Yeah.
If I can't say anything.
Well, do you have any last thoughts you'd like to share with the audience?
I'm just so excited. It's great to be here at Galactic's, and great to see so many people just excited about Star Wars Unlimited.
Yeah.
This is really like the culmination of not just about a year and a half of the game being out, but for me, 5 years of working on this game, and I could not be more thrilled.
That's crazy. What a time to be alive.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time, YouTube.
Thank you.